StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Hello, Namaskar, Namaskar. My name is Pooja Devedi. Welcome to my class, The Daily Current Affairs, where we will learn significant events of the past 24 hours in such a manner that we not only enhance our knowledge base and conceptual clarity, but also develop skills or the knack for solving preliminary questions. Before I begin, I would like to tell you that if you do not attend this class on a daily basis, it becomes really hard. It will become really hard for you in the long run to understand from the PDF and of course solve test series. So do be a part of this program or the class on a daily basis. Then only you will be able to understand what prelims actually wants. Other than this, I do request you not to make any sort of notes because I provide the notes in the form of the current PDF that I'm using on my Telegram channel, that is by the name of Pooja Devedi UPSC. Other than this, if you have any questions regarding this examination, you can talk to me directly on my Instagram. Otherwise, you can be a part of the answer writing practice as well. That is conducted through my Telegram channel only. Alright, so let's begin with the various topics that we are going to cover today. First is a practice question that I gave you the last time to solve with respect to the National Mission for Clean Ganga. Consider the following statements. It is listed as a society under the Societies Registration Act of 1860. It is the implementation arm of the National Ganga River Basin Authority, and the Prime Minister is the chair of the National Mission for Clean Ganga. So what do we have to see? How many of the statements is or are not correct? Okay, so many of you have answered it correctly. Many of you have answered it incorrectly. Let's understand how. Yes, it is listed as a society under the Societies Registration Act of 1860. So this is correct. But since the coming of the National Ganga Council, the National Ganga River Basin Authority has been removed. Okay, so this is not the correct statement. Then the Prime Minister is the chair of the National Mission for Clean Ganga. No. How? Because he is the chair of the National Ganga Council. But the National Mission for Clean Ganga is headed by a DG, Directorate General. So that makes the first statement to be correct, the second and third to be incorrect. Two only will be the not correct ones. Okay, option B, two only will be not correct. Let's see how many of you have answered it correctly, because many of the students got confused when it comes to this particular statement, not correct. You have written the correct ones. So B is going to be the correct answer. Actually, most of you have answered it correctly. But correctly as in which ones are the correct? Here is Kaushik, who has answered it definitely correctly. Very good, Kaushik. Other than this, all of you have gotten confused between correct and not correct. This is what I'm talking about. If you do not pay attention to the statements that are given, as in which of the statements given or how many of the statements given is or are not correct, you will end up answering it incorrectly. Again, option B will be the correct answer. What have you done? Only one child has answered it correctly. What is this? Pay more attention in the class. Alright, now let's move forward. National Mission for Clean Ganga. It's a society, registered as a society under the Societies Registration Act of 1860, and it all happened on 12th August 2011. Okay. It was the implementation authority for the implementation agency for the National Ganga River Basin Authority. But after the coming of the National Ganga Council, which is the one important body that is headed by the Prime Minister, this NGRBA, the National Ganga River Basin Authority, got dissolved since 2016. And there are various components of the National Mission for Clean Ganga, in which we have the National Mission for Clean Ganga, NMCG itself. Also, you see here is the National Ganga Council. The National Ganga Council is headed by the Honorable Prime Minister of India. But when it comes to NMCG, it has two-tier management structure. One is the governing and another is the executive committee. Both are headed by a Directorate General, DG. Okay, so I hope you understand what is the crux of this question. It's really sad that this escaped your mind. You had to select the not correct statements. Okay, only one aspirant has answered it correctly, and this is directly from the government website. I have put it because you do not get confused from the different websites. This is generic information. Okay, Now, arrange the following important ports from west to east. Gwadar, Manama, Dakma. To answer this question, you have to know certain things. Where are these ports situated? Then only you can answer this question. Now, we have to choose the correct answer using these codes. The answer to this question will be discussed, but before that, let's discuss the news. Recently, 4 Pakistani state-owned petroleum companies have signed a memorandum of understanding with Saudi Arabia. And this is to build Pakistan's largest oil refinery to invest in the Gwadar port. Here is the Gwadar port, which is also a very important part of the China-Pakistan economic corridor, right? And here only the strategic investment from Saudi Arabia will take place. So, we have the port of Manama in Bahrain. Then we have the port of Dakma in Oman. And then we have the port of Gwadar in Pakistan. We had to go from west towards the east. So first we have the port of Manama in the Persian Gulf in Bahrain. Then we have the port of Dakma in the Arabian Sea, and here Arabian Sea, which is of course a part of the Indian Ocean, and then the port of Gwadar. Okay, so first Manama will be there, then Dakma will be there, and finally Gwadar. 2, 3, 1 will be the correct answer, option C. Alright, let's move ahead. Consider the following statements with respect to the India-Myanmar relations. After 1824, Burma or Myanmar became a part of the Indian Empire of the British. It was separated from India by the Government of India Act of 1919, and the free movement regime between India and Myanmar was implemented in 2018 as a part of the Act East policy. So what do we have to see? How many of the statements given above is or are correct? Okay, so let us see the correct answer to this question. First of all, let us understand it from the perspective of modern history. I will need the help of a map for that. See, this is the boundary that India has with Myanmar. It has a boundary through 4 states. India has a boundary with Myanmar through 4 states. Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram. In total, we have a 1643 kilometer of boundary with Myanmar. And the longest boundary is shared with the help of the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, then we have Mizoram, then Manipur, and then Nagaland. Okay, now it could also be asked in your preliminary examination about the length of the borders that Myanmar shares with Indian states, 4 Indian states. The length from highest to lowest arrangement could also be asked in your preliminary examination. The free movement regime is being criticized a lot these days because of the current crises in Manipur. The free movement regime was a pact or an arrangement which was developed between India and Myanmar and implemented in the year 2018, under which it was okay for the tribes belonging to either side of the border of India and Myanmar to travel up to 16 kilometers from here to there and from there to here, from Myanmar to India, India to Myanmar, up to 16 kilometers, up to I am saying, okay, and no visa would be required. And this is why it is being said that the Kuki-Chin tribes, when they moved from Myanmar to India, that caused tensions between the groups, Meiteis and Kuki-Chin tribes, okay. And also, as we see in this particular map, this is a map from 1909. And this map consists of a show of Burma, Upper Burma, Lower Burma, now Myanmar of course, and it eventually became a part of the European Empire, specifically British Indian Empire. For the first time ever, it was seen that a border with Burma was established in 1785 when the Burmese, they took care of, or they took the seizure of the Arakan region. And since then, there was a thinking that this is the boundary between Myanmar and India back then. But it was seen by the British that continuous intrusions into Assam by the Burmese, it was creating a problem for British India. So what did they do? Through subsequent wars, specifically through the war of First Anglo-Burmese War of 1824-1826, for the first time ever, that Lower Burma was annexed. Lower Burma was annexed first, and then after other wars from 1852 to 1855, other wars included Upper Burma as well. So eventually it became a part of the Indian Empire. But what happened is that it was thought out that now it needs to be separated from India, Burma. So what happened? Not the Government of India Act, but of course the Government of India Act 1919, no, not that, Government of India Act 1935 along with the Burma Act of 1935 separated Burma from India, and it was done or given implementation in 1937, remember. So first statement is correct, second is not correct, third is correct. 1 and 3 are correct, so 2 only will be the correct answer. Alright, let's move on. In which of the following sections of the IPC there is a provision of penalization for hate speech against one's religion? Okay, section 233A, 253A, 195A or 295A. The correct answer to this question is option D, that is 295A. Hate speech is most of the times in the news these days. So the Supreme Court has refused to quash an FIR which was lodged in Uttar Pradesh against Mukhtar Ansari's son Umar Ansari. Okay, so this section 295A of the IPC defines as well as prescribes the punishment for deliberate and malicious acts that pertain to outrage religious feelings of any class by insulting its religion or religious beliefs, malicious intention of outraging the religious feeling of any class of citizens of India by words either spoken or written, or by signs or visible representation or otherwise. That means it could be either verbal, written, by signs, by visual representation. Similarly, we see in the sedition case, insults or attempts to insult the religion or religious beliefs of that class. It shall be punished with an imprisonment of up to 3 years, which may extend up to 3 years, or with fine or with both. And this also comprises of other sorts of more specific malicious intents, such as damage of or defilement of a place of worship with intent to insult the religion. There should be an intent as well. That's section 295. Trespassing in a place of sepulture. 297. Uttering words with deliberate intent to wound the religious feelings of any person. 298. And disturbing a religious assembly. 296. Now 295A is read along with section 153A of the IPC. That means if that is used to promote enmity between two groups on the grounds of religion, race, place of birth, residence, language, doing acts which are prejudicial to maintenance of harmony, and section 505 also punishment statements that are responsible for public mischief. All right, which of the following is not a kukri class INS? Indian Naval Ship. Kotar, Kirpan, Khanjar and Sumedha. So you have to answer me it correctly. The correct answer is INS Sumedha. Other than them, all these three are kukri class missile corvette submarines. Recently, INS Khanjar, which is an indigenous kukri class missile corvette, visited Trincomalee. Trincomalee is in Sri Lanka. And also another news is very important for us. This particular visit was very good for certain fishermen that were stranded in the Bay of Bengal. They were rescued by INS Khanjar. So it is a kukri class guided missile corvette. It is designed to carry missiles, and it is capable of both offensive as well as defensive operation. Its commissioning was done in 1991. It has armaments, radars, sensors, also designed to carry helicopters. Then India hands over INS Kirpan to Vietnam in a landmark move. This I have also covered. This is also kukri class one. And this is for the first time ever that India has given a fully operational INS to any other country. Okay, moving on. INS Kukri, the one after which everybody else had a name of a class, Kukri, it was decommissioned back in 2021. It was for the first time commissioned in 1989. Okay, with respect to the Commission for Air Quality Management, consider the following statements. It tackles pollution in the adjoining areas of Delhi NCR, which includes areas of Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. The chairperson of the CAQM is appointed by the president. So what do we have to see? Which of the statements given above is or are correct? The first statement is incorrect, because although it can tackle the Delhi NCR region issues that comprises of Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, but not Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so first is incorrect. The chairperson is actually appointed by the central government because it's a statutory body. Most of the times statutory bodies related to the central government only. Okay, so first incorrect, second is also incorrect. Neither 1 nor 2 will be the correct answer. CAQM and adjoining areas. this is the basic name of this particular institution, Commission for Air Quality Management in National Capital Region, and this came into existence in 2020 with the help of an ordinance. But later on, an act was also enacted that made it a statutory body for better coordination, research, identification, and resolution of problems which are related to air quality and adjoining areas, and that takes care of the regions of Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh, but not Madhya Pradesh. Okay, and it also, one more body was created by the Supreme Court, which was dissolved after the coming up of the CAQM, and this was the Environment Pollution Authority. That was, its job was done once CAQM came into existence. And as I told you, the chairperson is appointed by the central government. The book Memories Never Die, which has been recently released, is dedicated to, the correct answer will be Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and it is said that under his leadership only, India grew leaps and bounds when it comes to the defense technology. So this book has been dedicated to him, and it has been recently released or launched, and Amit Shah was at the event. Now this is a practice question for you to practice. Consider the following statements. India is the world's third largest pharma industry by production volume, and India's import dependence on China remains as much high as 90 to 100% when it comes to critical raw materials. So what do we have to see? Which of the statements given above is or are correct? I hope yes, it's is or are correct. So please answer this one correctly. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for watching.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।